You are looking at all that is left of an American Airlines jet and an Army helicopter after the two slammed into each other over the Potomac River near Washington. This morning, there are lots of questions. Hello, I'm Schonfeld, and this is special coverage of the deadly crash over the Potomac. Take a look at this. Video captured the American Airlines jet with 64 people on board colliding with that Army Black Hawk helicopter while landing at Ronald Reagan National Airport just before 9 p.m. on Wednesday evening. Here's what we know. Among those on the plane were American and Russian figure skaters, their families and coaches, and everyone aboard is feared dead. Listen here at the moments after air traffic control learned about the deadly collision.
Crash, crash, crash. This is alert 3. 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 Two helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approaching runway 33.
It was probably out in the middle of the river. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
Joining us now to discuss the latest developments is the Hill's senior editor, Jesse Byrnes. Jesse, thanks so much for being with us this morning. This morning, officials delivered that gloom news that everyone aboard is believed to be dead. Do we know at this point how many bodies have been recovered?
Well, about half of the passenger list from this regional jet, 27 individuals have been recovered, and as well as one person from that Black Hawk helicopter. So it remains to be seen exactly what went down in the moments before this crash. Obviously, there is some air traffic control communication to this helicopter as well as the regional jet, but we don't know what happened in those moments right before the crash, and so a lot will be determined by those black boxes when they're recovered by officials.
Yeah, obviously the focus has been in these initial hours on recovering any survivors, if there are any. But now there are also, of course, all of these questions as this investigation begins. Officials say that the American Airlines plane and the military helicopter were flying on their regular flight paths. What do we know about their communications with air traffic control?
Well, the regional jet was on its final descent into one of the main lanes there at Reagan Airport, and air traffic control did communicate with this Black Hawk helicopter, asking if it had sights on the jet. And then moments later, of course, is when the actual crash happened. Now, the NTSB has not given definitive information on whether the black box has been recovered from the jet. We have heard from the Defense Secretary this morning saying that this Black Hawk was on a routine annual nighttime observation, and that the soldiers who were on board, the 3 soldiers, that they did have night vision goggles.
As we wait for that critical information from those black boxes, what do we know about the conditions of the aircraft that were involved?
Well, we've seen images playing out this morning of the jet basically upside down in the Potomac River, twisted metal, ostensibly from both aircraft there. And officials really, working throughout the night, overnight. The water was very cold when this crash happened, and so time was of the essence. But quickly, that recovery effort, the search effort, turned into a recovery effort there in the Potomac, just outside of Washington, D.C.
And of course, Reagan National Airport is a very busy airport. It's a hub for American Airlines. What's happening at the airport today? Are planes still taking off and landing?
There's been a ground stop since last night when this happened. The airport is expected to open up later this morning, but certainly that could change. A lot of flight delays, and flights have been diverted to other airports in the region this morning.
I also want to go back to that press conference that we heard from officials this morning and play a little bit of it, and then I want to get your reaction.
There are going to be a lot of questions, obviously, a lot of questions, and that's what the NTSB's job is to be an independent investigator of incidents like this, and they are here. We were in dialogue with them earlier today. They've been here since they got the alert, and they will be doing the work and playing lead in answering the many questions that we have, and that's as it should be. It's not a time to speculate, it's a time to investigate.
So the next phase of this operation is going to be led by the NTSB. All of us are working together, though, to search the area and find the victims. I'm confident that we will do that.
It is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that. But prior to the collision, the flight paths that were being flown from the military and from American, that was not unusual for what happens in the DC airspace. And as this investigation moves forward, we will be able to provide more information to you about the details of that statement.
You heard a little bit there a moment ago from Senator Kaine. Also saw Senator Mark Warner from Virginia there behind him, as well as Congressman Don Beyer, who represents parts of Northern Virginia. What comes next in terms of the questions on Capitol Hill?
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of scrutiny over the amount of air traffic that Reagan Airport gets. Now, you'll remember, Zach, last year, Congress passed through the FAA reauthorization bill, opening up 5 new lanes for more aircraft at Reagan Airport. That was a really contentious fight among lawmakers in Virginia and Maryland, as well as elsewhere. And so there's definitely going to be scrutiny on the amount of traffic that is happening there. Now, everyone agrees, the United States, we had 17 million flights in the air over U.S. airspace last year alone. But since 9/11, there have only been a handful of crashes like this that have involved dozens of fatalities. And so, by and large, air travel is very much safe. That doesn't mean that there can't be improvements that we're seeing officials say. And so there's going to be scrutiny on what went wrong here and really honing in. We've seen the president come out on his social media platform also saying that this should have been preventable and raising some questions around this.
Yeah, a lot of questions indeed. All right, The Hill's Jesse Byrnes, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Zach.
I'm Zach Schonfeld. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for more on the intersection between politics and policy.